the question I asked Dr. Gajaraj is, remember in my, not in my mother's time, in my grandmother's time, there used to be a room where the women gave birth. The midwife would be called, who was just a neighborhood midwife. She would come, she would touch the stomach and say, today it will happen or tomorrow it will happen. Now, in the context of Irfan, who clamped the umbilical cord, why is this, why has he been booked? Why has, this restriction been put on the hospital for 10 days? What is so objectionable about it, Dr. Jayashree?
See, basically, the practice of obstetrics, the delivery process itself, has changed and is evolving over the years, primarily because women want more involvement, not only of themselves, but their partner as well, in the birth process. And I think it's their right to have it. I mean, it's a family, it's not the woman alone having a baby, it's the couple who has the child. So the father, his bonding, etc., everything comes from his antenatal visits to the doctor, from being with her when she is in labor, and therefore being with her when she is having her child. So many of us have been allowing husbands inside the labor room for more than 30 years. And I personally find it a big help because they actually give a lot of emotional support to the mother, which we as medical people may not be able to give 100%. So it's lovely to have them around. They need a little counseling before they're allowed in, which I always do, because sometimes the whole scenario is very intimidating for them. So I counsel them and I take them in. Moving on to the entering the cesarean section theater, the operation theater, that is a different ball game because there it's actually a surgical procedure going on. And here, unless the person is mentally and physically equipped to perform there, and when I say perform, to be there, to sit with the mother, give her the support, it's going to be very distracting for him. He's going to have one monitor going on, a whole lot of wires around his wife. It's all very emotionally traumatic for him. It's not easy. So if he's prepared for it, yes, we do allow, but with the consent of the mother herself. She has to be awake. If she has a general anesthesia, we don't allow. She has to be awake. She has to consent to it because even if it's her husband, she has every right to refuse.
Tell
Secondly,
me,
the management,
Dr. Jayashree, if
yeah,
he was allowed to cut the umbilical cord, the doctor allowed it, right? I mean, don't you think the doctor is equally culpable? Because, see, he may have the mental strength and the confidence to do it, but is he
yes.
supposed to do it? What if the cut is wrong? What
See,
happens?
there are NMC rules which say that a non-medical person should not use a surgical instrument inside the theater.
Okay.
That is quite clear actually.
Huh. Huh.
But there, cutting the umbilical cord is looked at as an emotional moment for the father. So if he is properly scrubbed and gowned and totally following all the aseptic precautions, there are some doctors who allow it to happen. But he should be equally scrubbed like the surgeon or the surgeon's assistant. Asepsis has to be followed.
All right. So, if you say that some doctors do allow it, then it's not
Yeah.
a crime, right? And why is he been booked then?
She see the what circumstances this happened under, all of us may not know 100%, whether it was discussed earlier, whether it was something that the doctor has obtained a consent for, is something that has not come out so far. Even the
Okay.
management has to give permission for filming. Any clinical scenario, clinical material cannot be recorded on a photograph or a video unless permission is taken from the
But ma'am,
management.
obviously their permission was granted, otherwise you will not see in that video or in that picture. Look at it. We
Yes.
see the entire OT. There we see Irfan and his wife, who's maybe
Yeah.
about to deliver or has delivered. He's holding the baby. Look at that. I mean, you see a hand. I do not know if it's the doctor or a nurse. Behind you can see. So permission was granted. There is
So
something more here because the doctor has also been booked, and so has the hospital. There has been a restriction. So, I am asking you, is it because perhaps allegedly, because you say you do not know, neither do I, but perhaps it was not, it was just done with a, I do not know, I mean, He's a very famous YouTuber. I mean, his vlogs on biryani and other things are
Yeah,
fabulous. I
yeah.
mean, in Chennai, he does it in Tamil, which is my mother tongue. But the point of the matter is, why is it then that he is in the dock? He was also in the dock earlier, Dr. Jayashree,
Exactly.
because
Yes.
he revealed the gender of his unborn
Gender
child,
of
which
the
is a
baby.
crime. He
So
went to
that could be a
town saying it's.
celebrity immunity. That is a celebrity immunity that seems to be given. Which I'm totally against it. That should not happen. Now,
Right.
the doctor, yes, she has consented. She has said, you can cut the cord. I think we can hear that on the video. But equally, he is responsible. He should not have been allowed inside. Um, the fact that he was not properly gowned is, I think, one of the things we
Oh,
need to consider. You know, sepsis has been total disregard for sepsis over there. You can see his hand, which is without a glove or a gown. Glove he is wearing, but the gown is forearm is totally exposed.
there we
So you
have it.
cannot enter a
Yeah.
surgical field like that.
Right, right. He's not wearing gloves in that picture. You're absolutely right. He is when he holds his newborn daughter, but then not at the time when he is there and he is. Look at that picture, ladies and gents. That's what Dr. Jayashree Gajaraj is saying, that he's not gowned properly and he's not wearing gloves at all. So, therefore, it's not considered to be safe at all. Doctor, the thing is that with, like you said, that birth boutiques, as they are called, with now they are
Yeah.
increasing in number. Everywhere I see husbands want to be there. I mean, it's a Western concept apparently. I have no fight with that. I mean,
Yes.
but so be it. But then there, what kind of precautions are taken? If you are aware, would you, because there are lots of people watch this show and those expectant parents, they would like to know. I mean, what happens there?
See, there are two scenarios here. One where we follow all the medical, the rules and regulations, where the husband is allowed into the OT. He is wearing a scrub gown, but he need not necessarily scrub. He is allowed into the OT after the woman is painted and draped and ready for the surgery. There is a screen between the abdomen and the baby's, the mother's head. So the husband is allowed to sit with the wife and give her the emotional support that he should. The second scenario is where this umbilical cord cutting comes in, which is a more recent, onset desire which all of them seem to have. Cutting the umbilical cord in the labor room is absolutely acceptable and there's no issue at all. But with regard to the OT, I think all of us need better direction. This could serve as an index case from which some suggestions may come up. But at the moment, I think what he did and what the fact that he was allowed inside to cut the umbilical cord is wrong.
Gajraj.